Hello my fellow riders, today we're going to be talking about maintaining your bike at home and visual checks that you should be doing before each ride. Now the reason I started doing this video is, as you can see in the background, there is a Lexmoto Assault 125. Now this bike came in and the customer said that the bike wasn't charging the battery. The bike's 6 months old and because of lockdown he hasn't been using it. So it has 680 something miles on the clock. But the reason why it wasn't charging the batteries is because batteries don't like sitting for too long before they start draining themselves. So on average a standard car battery will lose about half an amp a day, and a motorbike battery probably loses a little bit less, but this is the same sort of thing. Now the problem isn't letting the battery go flat, the problem is letting the battery go flat for a long period of time. What happens is with a lead acid battery, all the sulfate in the battery start to plate the lead on the inside, which means that it can't do what it's supposed to do to store electricity, which is remove the atoms, remove the positive atoms or positive ions out of the solution and put them into place, and then vice versa. I guarantee there's going to be somebody on here telling me that is not quite right, but that's the basic principle. Now lead acid batteries have that, lithium ion have a different process. They don't lose as much charge, but if you don't charge them and discharge them correctly, they get like, it's sort of like a stalactite sort of thing inside the cells, and if they join together that creates a short and it potentially set your battery on fire. So again, it's all about having like a trickle charger or a storage charger if you're leaving your bike for a long period of time. Now quite a lot of people think that on a motorbike the best thing to do is go outside, start your bike up for 5 minutes, let it charge the battery, shut it down, put it away. This isn't actually the case, and doing this will actually give you more issues than it would if you just left it alone. So with a motorbike, if you're storing it over a long period of time, you just want to use a trickle charger. If you're storing it like a couple of months, if you're storing it over like an extended period of time, I'd recommend taking the battery out. You can take the fuel out and all that sort of stuff, because fuel will go off. But anyway, it's that's the battery side of it anyway. You can get a trickle charger, you can get a special trickle charger if it's lithium ion. But basically if you're going to leave it for any more than a month, you need to get something like that, because going outside starting it will cause more problems than leaving it alone. Now I did say at the beginning that we're going to be going through a couple of bits about what things you should check before you go out on any sort of ride, and we will in a second. I just want to ask you quickly to hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, let the YouTube algorithm know that you are watching my video and enjoying it. Also I have over 300 videos as well with maintenance and different type of bikes. If you want to check some of those out, go onto the channel and have a look. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. So on a motorbike, when you first go out after an extended period of time, or first go out, what you should first check is your tyre pressures. With temperature changes, that actually reduces the amount of pressure in your tyre, and less tyre is less ability to hold the road with those tyres. We've had some customers come into cheap bikes for us and they have had like 1 or 2 psi. The problem with that is if you go around a corner too hard with 1 or 2 psi, you've got a good chance of ripping the tyre off of the bead on your rim, and if you do that, you're coming off. So you want to make sure that your tyre pressures are up to where they're supposed to be. Majority of 50cc's and 125cc bikes take 32 psi. Have a look in the manuals, they might specify different, but on average it's 32 psi. Obviously, another thing you've got to check is your oil. You should be having regular oil changes everywhere anyway. After you've done your first service or so, it should be every 1,000 to 2,000 miles. Now with this as well, if you're storing your bike over a long period of time, you might find that some condensation gets into the oil and you'll get like little white patches on the filler cap and stuff like that. Now the best thing to do is to do an oil flush, which is, you can get something from Liquid Moly. You put the additive into your oil, run it for 20 minutes and then clean the oil out and then put some fresh oil in, and that should get rid of that problem. The problem with the white stuff is it's like water and oil combined, and that can get into places of your engine and reduce how the oil is supposed to work properly, so reduce the longevity of your engine. So always make sure that you've got the correct amount of oil in. Most people don't read the manuals, and say on the Yamazaki and the Lex Yamazaki 50, 125, the Lex Motor Assault and all of that, even things like the Lambrettas, they all have service lights on them, not oil lights. But because people don't usually read the manual, they'll add more oil to it. So you've got the litre in there that was in there before, and then somebody adds another litre, that can potentially do more damage to your engine with too much oil in it than not enough. So you've got to make sure that your oil is in within the within the specifications in your manual. It took me a little bit of doing. So yeah, make sure that it is within the specifications in your manual. Check your brakes especially, this is quite important. Another thing to check is the headstock bearing. So that is the thing that connects your frame to your front of your handlebars. So the easiest way to check that is sit on your bike, hold the brake lever on the front and bounce it back, rock your bike back and forwards. And if you can hear a clonking from the front, it means that you probably need to get them tensioned up. At home, for home use, quite a lot of motorbikes have got, if it's the old style motorbikes with cables, front and back for the brakes, they have the same adjuster on them as you would get on a push bike. So it's got an internal bit with an external ring. You turn the internal bit that pulls the cable out, and then you use the external ring to hold it where it's supposed to be. Make sure that your clutch and your brake are adjusted to where they are supposed to be. Most will come with hydraulic brakes now. I think some of the cruisers have, like the box had something weird, which was a cable attached to hydraulics. So you would still have to adjust the cable, because all cables on motorbikes will stretch and eventually they will snap. So the other thing that you need to do is check your chain, make sure that it's tensioned to spec and make sure it's got enough grease on it. Now I will be doing a video later on with actually at a bike doing these checks, but this is just something that I needed to do a video, so I thought I might do this. So hopefully this has helped you out, and hopefully you will consider subscribing to my channel. Hit the notification bell to stay updated to all my latest content, and up here somewhere there will be a video on my latest video, and down here will be whatever YouTube decides is best for you guys. But hit that subscribe button, and as always, ride safe.